Aloha, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Prince John Internet TV. Today's subject matter will be regarding emotions, as usual, and relationships, and how to properly organize a church. So, why take another person seriously? Why not reiterate what they say and make it my own critique? Redefine and recapitulate what someone else says. For instance, if they suggest that I'm taking advantage of the system, I can reverb it to myself by saying that I'm doing what I think is right. And perhaps I could take a step in the direction of complete independence, perhaps trying to make a marketable product or service, etc. But remember not to, be like a smartass and think that I can outwit an angry or intoxicated person. In other words, don't try to use the psychology of, oh, maybe I can redefine what they're saying, their mean words into nice words. If you actually, you can do that after the fact, or you know, in a safe place. But if you're immediately confronted with an angry person who's just, find some space and privacy. Let them deal with their emotions on their own. You can always email them recommendations as to what they might do. Bottom line, let's try to, not convince others that we're doing right, but convince ourselves. If somebody says I'm an idiot, I need to believe in it in order for it to affect me. Just because people are friendly and physically attracted to each other doesn't mean that they're a good romantic match for a lifetime partner. We can be friendly, we can do that with many people, but we must be exceedingly selective with who we choose to live the rest of our lives with. It's somebody who's going to have to listen to the same songs on the radio that we do, eat the same food, and just be able to enjoy the same way of living, exercise. Those are three main components of life, and other things like the relationship standards. Who do you call your spiritual brother or sister, and beyond, and the expectations for how they're going to dress. Let life be about health and intimacy, not about other things such as food, money, beauty, talking, and other hobbies, which can be enjoyable, fraternizing and just playing games, watching television, enthusiasm regarding vehicles, cars, electronics, etc. But let's make it something that doesn't cost very much. Alright. So, a conclusion on the houseless situation. Well, myself being houseless, I think that, you know, if you look at people who have very stable lifestyles, they work a job that requires them to be, shall we say, not as questionative. They're responsible for things like their family, so they can't think outside the box. They can't always question their boss. They sometimes have to, um, you know, um, let go of their personal beliefs and some freedoms in order to continue the stream of money flow. So we need some people in society, and this is where charity comes in, where they can help people like me, give us food, and just let us live freely, so that we can make all these conclusions. And indubitably, inevitably, I will have a job, etc., and I may very well be the pastor of a church. But at the in the interim, I still feel this compelling force to just share all this information and knowledge so that it's not somehow lost. I believe I've exercised my mind to the point where I can really figure things out in situations. So, as I was saying, concerning the houseless, you know, you've got two categories of houseless. You've got those who don't really have a choice. They don't have any stability at all. When you're houseless, you need to have shelter and food before you can think about working. In other words, you're just living day to day, trying to find your basic meal, and you don't need money. You don't need government food stamps, government assistance. You need to have a group home that is government run. Don't give houseless people or people without jobs so much freedom, such as giving them cash money via food stamps, etc. I disagree with that. The soup kitchen can be located the um, in the um, the building, the housing, and I'm talking about like bunk bed style housing, not expensive housing where you give somebody, you know, $800 a month to have an apartment. I don't like that. Okay, so we also have to think about what jobs are really needed in society versus which jobs are not. For instance, a job that's really needed is, state jobs. A job that's not necessarily needed is, uh, some type of retail job of some random product. So society may have to make sacrifices in order to ensure that they have their basic needs being met as a community and as a global community before engaging in you know activities beyond that. What I'm talking about is a paradigm shift here from people spending money on lots of different things they don't need versus people spending money on things they do need and that they don't have a feeling, an existential, you know, concern that they have to impress their mate beyond having just basic needs, a place to live, and uh, food. So these are all subjects to consider. Um, Concern about how do you describe this? Compatibility in the bedroom. Um, you know, Especially with people who've had previous intimacy with other people. You know, this is where communication comes in. Ask somebody if they think they're equally matched, including the sex organs, and show pictures of each other to each other. There's no guessing here. It's a question of will you like each other for everything you are. I believe sometimes the reason I feel so compelled to start a relationship with a woman is because I want to like conquer or impress her. But this is the opposite of being with somebody who's like me. And if I feel bad about something, it's because I don't have the logic to comfort myself. When I remember when referring to people as sir or authority or officer, at least this is another thing. Like there are circumstances in which it's inappropriate to be on a first name basis. Think about like when you're upset at somebody, you don't really want to call them by their first name, for instance. And remember, there's a difference between spiritual family and other people. Spiritual family are people who agree with you wholeheartedly on things like taste in music, exercise, religious practice, just doing the light work, or whatever your response is to deal with life, and dieting, and of course as well. Okay, so concerns regarding the myth of Christianity. It's my job to dispel this Jesus myth, and just go to YouTube Caesar's Messiah for a full explanation. But essentially, it was something that was created in order to, in a subtle way, continue the um, perpetuation of authority of the few so that they can make decisions instead of a real democracy. And I think people are prone to believing in this because they like the idea of, a king in their subconscious mind. But why don't we be kings of ourselves, our own authorities, our own speakers? Sometimes I myself or you may wait for a boss or some type of a hero in our lives to congratulate us or confirm that we're doing what we like to do, but in reality, that's for us to do. The Christian thought process is irresponsible. This can be highlighted in noticing how pastors might say, "Oh, God or the Bible says X, Y, Z," and they're not saying, "I said this." They're not taking responsibility for what they say. To redefine. It's time to redefine our vibration. Okay. Remember to have your private time for your religion. It's important to have control over my life and not another person's. And we can do that by doing our visualizations and our light work or whatever it is that you do, but make sure that it's your time. It's you creating your world as opposed to just leaving everything to chance. So my theory on the church service is to invite men and women there, and that they sit the men sit on one side, the women sit on the other, and they dress discreetly with dresses, etc., and no cursing, and we sing peaceful songs. Even though I maybe like to swear sometimes, let's make church like an especially sacred place. Uh, okay, so during those hours of church, however, my 1 or 2 hours, there has to be one authority, somebody who decides who can be at the church and who not. When I say church, I'm referring to a group of people, not necessarily a building. Okay, so remember that there has to be a single authority agreed upon in that space. They may let everyone speak, for a minute to share their beliefs, but okay, so okay, remember, men and women, let's be warriors. Even women wear jeans or shorts under your dress so that you can, quickly throw off your dress if necessary and run to defend or escape a situation. And have a whistle, if not pepper spray as well, and a flashlight, really bright flashlight. Bottom line, I think there's no such thing as loving other people, only agreeing with them. And when you agree with them, you naturally feel comfortable around them. There's no artificiality. Last but not least, exercise is my way of sustaining and perpetuating my power. And I thought it was by impressing others with riches. But I rest once a week, one day a week, and then I get back in it. And I really think that has made my life more enjoyable. So go get them, wherever you are out there, warrior. It's time for you. Enjoy your life. See you next show. Aloha.